President Biden set to sign the Democrats' $739 billion tax and climate bill today. The president will then, plans to take a victory lap around the country, sending cabinet members to 23 states to hype this bill before the midterms. Joining me now, Georgia Congressman Buddy Carter. He's a member of the House Energy and Commerce and Budget Committees. Congressman, you're calling out the drug pricing proposals in the bill, saying it could cost patients their lives. And Steve Moore worked on a study about this, but tell us more about that.
Well, first of all, the Hippocratic Oath tells us do no harm. And what the Democrats have done here is to do harm. Look, we all want to bring prescription drug prices down. No one more than I do. I was the one on the other side of the counter who had to tell the patients how much their medicine was going to be. I watched senior citizens as they made a decision between paying for their medicine and paying for their grocery. I saw the mother who was in tears because she couldn't afford the antibiotic for her child. So I want to bring prescription prices down, but this is not the way to do it. This will kill innovation. It will kill research and development. In over 40 years of practice of pharmacy, I've seen nothing short of miracles as a result of research and development. We cannot afford to lose that hope of having cures for ALS, for cancer, for Alzheimer's. We've got to have that. But this bill, it's going to result in fewer cures because we're not going to have the research and development that we need in order to have innovation.
JPMorgan CEO Jamie Dimon's insisting that boosting natural gas production in the United States is not at odds with climate goals. During a recent client call, Dimon said this, quote, "Why can't we get it through our thick skulls that if you want to solve climate change, it's not against climate change for America to boost more oil and gas, meaning natural gas?" Congressman, it seems logical, but it flies in the face of he's a Democrat, but what the left preaches.
He's absolutely right, though. We've got to use natural gas. Look at what we've done in the United States of America over the last decade. We have decreased our carbon emissions more than the next 12 countries combined while growing our economy. It can be done. And part of the reason we've been able to do that has been natural gas. The natural gas here is 47% cleaner than that in Russia. We've got to be able to export that natural gas. This is what the developing countries, this is what they should be doing. We've got to have innovation in this country. With the Democrats, they think if it's not wind and solar, it's no good. Well, that's totally wrong. We've got to utilize nuclear. We've got to utilize the fossil fuels. They've gotten so much cleaner as a result of the innovation that has come about by the private sector. If we would just get out of the way and let them do what the market dictates, then I can assure you we would be able to export clean energy.
Liz Peek, jump in here. We would probably be producing, based on some estimates, 3 million more barrels a day as a nation, if not for Joe Biden's policy or hostility toward our energy sector, particularly oil-producing companies in that part of the country. But also, and now you've got billions upon billions upon billions going to buy electric garbage trucks in this country.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit like the immigration scandal, Dagan, in the sense that the real cost of all this is being hidden from American consumers. Congressman, I think the real challenge for the Republican Party is to get out and explain to people that renewable energy mandates, like we have in California, like has those that have led to an 80% higher electricity charge in California than the rest of the nation, that is what Biden wants to spread nationwide. When you really bring it down to pocketbook issues and you talk about all the subsidies and how taxpayers are going to have to bail out this headlong push to renewable energy, that's what's going to make a difference to voters. And we need to have the facts. The facts are on our side, but we have to counter this incredible propaganda from the green lobby. And I hope you can do that.
Well, I certainly hope we can too, and we need to, because you're right. It's all a matter of articulating the fact that we do produce clean energy here in America. And look, if America and Europe were to go to net zero emissions, we still wouldn't solve the global problem. That's what the Democrats don't realize is it's China and India and the developing countries that are adding the most to carbon emissions, and they have admitted that they're going to continue to use the cheapest, the most reliable energy out there, whether it be coal or whatever. They don't care. They just want to grow. Well, if we can help them in the United States by exporting innovation that will help them grow while still being cleaner, then we will solve this problem.
I was watching, there was a segment of in recent days on CBS This Morning or CBS Morning, and it was involving why children are heavier and are not outside. And as part of the segment, they blamed climate change for children not being active. In part, they did mention the video games and television, smartphones and tablets, but climate change? Because it's hot? Well, it's August.
They blame climate change for everything. I mean, if you got a problem, it's because of climate change. That's ridiculous. Look, I believe in climate change, and I believe we need to address it. And yes, man does have somewhat of an impact on it. I do believe it's cyclical, but we need to be responsible, and we have been responsible in the United States, and we'll continue to be responsible. But we've got to have an all-of-the-above type of energy strategy where we utilize and unleash our American energy potential here. It's important to our national security. Is important to the world.
Indeed. Instead, we're begging Saudi Arabia and now essentially Iran to pump more oil when we're going to we're at war with ourselves rather than standing up to a terrorist nation. I digress. Congressman Buddy Carter, great to see you this morning, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.